Okay, it is the 15th of January 2019. It's 7:01. This is a meeting of the Agricultural Commission here at the Lakeville Council on Aging, and Lake Camp is filming us. As we have a quorum, let's review the previous meeting's minutes. I think everyone but me may have done it online and approved, and I did not send an approval, but I approve.
I did input the suggestion that you sent to me,
Okay.
so that is in there.
Okay, great. Then I make a motion to approve the minutes. As
Second.
amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The minutes are approved. On tonight's agenda, we had the farming film update. I do have some updated information. Jamie Viveros of the Lakeville Library has confirmed our reservation on the night of the 26th. We need an hour and 5 minutes to show the film, so we have a 2-hour block. I have also received confirmation that we can have a soft fundraising there as approved by their board. So we can't actively solicit donations, but I think we've had previous suggestions by Cindy that perhaps a pail would suffice. So we're all set on that. I have confirmed with the film producer and distributor to get our copies, so that will be in process as soon as we figure out how we're going to pay them the $250. But as I've said previously, in either case, I don't have a problem with putting the money up.
I'd like to throw something in here. I spoke to Rita about this, and she said we should write a letter to the selectmen and ask them for the money for this, because we don't have any budget, so there's no way for us to promote ourselves. So she said, simply write a letter to the selectmen and ask them. The worst they can do is say no, but say, we want to have this, we want to introduce the public to the AdCom and what we're doing, and we have this movie and it's $250 and we don't have any budget.
Okay.
So she said just write a letter to the selectmen and see if they'll give us the money for it.
Okay.
What is the date and time, and what is the event?
It will be, we're going to show a film called Forgotten Farms, which was produced in Vermont, and it's primarily about the New England dairy industry and how the industry went from a booming situation to now, less than, I think they said 800 farms New England wide, and the trials and tribulations of local agriculture. So it's going to be on March 26th at the Lakeville Library, and we have booked a window from 6 to 8, so I'm thinking the showing is probably going to be maybe a 6:30 start time, because it's an hour and 5 minutes, and then we'll have a couple minutes to chat and clean up afterwards. So we're all set on the fundraising aspect of it that night. We have the room. I think they said we can fit 100 comfortably, and I'm noticing that was also in the October minutes. The film's producer has offered to come down and speak, but that comes with a condition of a hotel room and so forth, so I don't know that we actually need them to come down, but it was a nice offer. If we come into some type of windfall and we decide that we want to invite them down, they are available to do that. With the purchase of the film, we get 2 copies of the Blu-ray disc, one can be maintained by the Agricultural Commission, and the other will likely be donated to the library if people are interested in borrowing that sometime in the future.
When I spoke to Rita, she also said that we might broach this subject down the line of actually getting a budget of some sort for the AgCom. We don't know how much, but that might be something that we would discuss since we are a town board.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions or concerns on the
Advertising?
film? Thank you. We will likely do word of mouth and maybe some Lake Cam advertising if we can convince Jose to help us out. Or Jose, I'm sorry, Jose to help us out. They will also, the producers also promote it on their website and through social media at their end
And we might
as
get it on the
well.
library's calendar as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay.
If there's nothing further on that, we'll move to the next, which is the banking update. I have had little or no luck in getting any concrete information from the Department of Revenue, and I did send an inquiry to the IRS, which, as we know, is not responding to anything currently. And timing-wise, I think the Mass DOR is probably a little inundated, and I know that in one of our previous meetings, we discussed, one of the local banks said that they wanted somebody's social security number tied to it, and of course, that was my concern is
Absolutely,
my
nobody wants to do that.
social security number tied to something else. So my email to the DOR was to find out how a nonprofit arm of the government gets a tax ID number, which my understanding, we don't qualify for as the AgCom because we would need it through the town's tax ID number. So then it's a nonprofit.
Right. And I spoke to the
entity.
town accountant with Rita about this, and they said it's completely outside of the town, so we're completely on our own to set up Pale.
Yeah, and so I'm sorry to say I haven't received a response yet as of today in my 8,000 emails. So that's kind of where we stand. I'll just keep seeing if I can get somebody to establish something so that my big concern, of course, is to have it prior to, we need something in place in order to take on any type of donations that particular evening.
I was a member of Solid Waste Association of North America for about 20 years, and then made all the offices and what have you. We had as a nonprofit, even with all the numbers and everything we had, you had to give, we all took turns at being treasurer and would have to give our social security number.
Okay.
I don't think there's any way we can get out of that.
Okay.
At least there was no way we could, so. And there was also a national company, a national part of it that was involved.
Well, hopefully we can find out a little more, and so we'll be able to proceed with that. If there's nothing else on that, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. That's the farmer's market update. I did have a nice phone conversation with Leslie Heil of the old Easton, or the original Easton Farmers Market. She would be interested in talking to us about future plans for the farmer's market. She said that we have a little bit of work to do, groundwork, before she would be interested in coming in. The determination whether or not we were going to try and have a year-round market or whether we were going to try and have just a seasonal market was one of the situations. We need to do some reference checks or area checks to see who in the area are running markets on what days, so that you don't have competing markets. And I know that that was discussed at previous meetings. She stated that, in her opinion, Middleborough ran a successful market, so you certainly, being in close proximity, wouldn't want to be on the same day as them. Determination of whether or not we wanted to be inside or outside. And then budget-wise, because we have no budget currently, she said that that would be a concern as to how she would pay, or how she would get paid, or how we would discuss fulfilling her requirements for a stipend. And a lot of that depends on the amount of work that gets put in, the amount of hours that get put in, especially with a startup. She was not able to attend tonight's meeting, but was very interested in coming and speaking with us on another night. So that was fairly positive. I think she's the first one that has been reasonably committed to saying that she's open to working with us. Any thoughts?
So you're saying we need to check on which days? Do you want me to do that? Check around with other markets?
That we do need to do that, and that kind of spins into the next item on the agenda as well. So if we have no further discussion on the farmers market item proper, Hank had brought up making contact with some of the area ag commissions. He wanted this on the agenda tonight, as far as reaching out to them and seeing what they're doing and how things are going with them. And I think that would tie into, you know, the farmers market, as far as contacting the other local ag coms, asking them about farmers market. And then I don't know, Hank, are we looking to steal trade secrets, or are we just looking to see what's going on?
Steal trade secrets. I'll just come out with it.
Well, as a manager in the solid waste field, we went all over the country checking in with each other. And if you had a jam, we'd call someone I'd call someone in Texas or in Kentucky or Kansas and see how they did things, or in New Jersey.
Okay.
And so I guess we would be doing it around the state, maybe Rhode Island. Rhode Island's very involved in this, and South Coast.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt to talk to some of the local ones in New England and see what they do, and how, maybe they have some other ideas for us, and maybe we could do something with them.
Okay.
There's a magazine called, it's like this, Edible North Shore, Edible South Coast, and every issue of that magazine has a list of who has farmers markets on what day.
Yeah.
Whether they're seasonal, whether they're summer, whether they're
Okay.
annual, so we might get a copy of that and see who has farmers markets going on what days, and who's close to us and who's not.
I should have one at home.
Does anybody here at the table have any personal contacts with anybody on a local ag com? Or would anybody like to volunteer to, maybe if we each pick a town, we can,
Sure, I would
Sure.
volunteer.
we can call, we can make some phone calls or try and make some contact.
Another thing Rita had suggested to me is that we contact local ad comps to see how they're funded,
Okay,
Could be part of the questions
one of the questions.
right.
on the list.
So we're gonna talk about, we're gonna each maybe pick a local AgCom, or one of us will pick two, and talk about local farmers markets, days.
Sounds like you're gonna pick two.
I'm gonna offer to pick two, because I know you're busy in thought over there. So farmers market days. We also want to discuss
Funded.
their funding, AgCom funding. And then maybe if they were interested in some type of future collaborations or anything like that. Okay. Hank, seeing as you brought this to the table, you got a particular town you'd like to call first? Or you,
Well, maybe Bridgewater,
okay,
okay.
all right, you call Bridgewater.
Dartmouth, I'm pretty familiar with the politics down there, so,
All right. You want to take those two?
sure.
Okay,
I can look into Plymouth.
okay. Tracy will call Plymouth.
I'll call Rochester and Westport.
Joni will call Rochester and Westport.
There's one down in Swansea, isn't there?
Hmm?
Pretty sure there's one in Swansea.
Okay,
It probably is.
do you want to be in charge
That's what
of,
Mo's, I think, right? Yeah,
you want to be in charge of calling Swansea?
yeah.
Okay,
And there's one in Bristol, Rhode Island. I'll check, see if they even have an AgCom there, I don't know.
all right, you
Yes.
call Swansea and Bristol, and I will call Middleborough.
They're really helpful with everything. Middleborough's really, really good.
Okay, I don't think Freetown ever did anything. I don't know.
I know there's one in Dayton.
All right, why don't I do that? I'll call Middleborough and Dayton. Everybody's got their assignments. Any, anything more on the local AgCom contacts? that we think we
I'll
need?
get you a contact for Dayton.
Okay,
You just gotta remind me.
might be easier.
Bristol Aggie might be able to help,
Yeah,
you know?
I'll tell, I'll put Emma on that.
Yeah, that's your contact? You'll ask your daughter
Yeah,
to
that's my
ask when
daughter.
she gets to
Chuck it right
school?
on there, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any other business that has come up since the posting of the meeting that we might need to discuss?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I didn't go to the 4-H meeting, I had another meeting, but I think that's going well.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt to try to put a donation together for them. Because they're gonna be trying to do stuff, and they're the same thing, they don't have any money.
I don't think we can start out going negative. We can't, we have zero, so I don't think we can give them just anything just yet, but in the future,
don't think?
in the future,
Well, if the rest of the followers kick in a little bit, maybe next meeting or something.
yeah. We might be able to do something.
I heard that farm over a race course is doing pretty good,
Got a mud farm like everybody else these days, although the last couple of days it's been nice and frozen, so that's good. All right, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to end the meeting here at 7:20.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Right.
I
Okay. Adjourned.